Turkey's most eligible bachelor, 2 broken relationships, one name that keeps destroying everything, and a secret he's been keeping since the very beginning of his career that changes how you see all of it. Çağatay Ulusoy, the man Netflix came to Turkey for, the actor who walked away from a successful Turkish series at the peak of its run to take a risk that nobody around him believed in. It paid off, bigger than anyone expected. But behind the career, the cars, the confidently single quotes in every interview, there's a story most people have never heard, where he actually came from, what he had to overcome before anyone would take him seriously. And the one thing from the beginning of his career that explains everything about who he became. By the end of this video, you'll see him completely differently. Istanbul, 1990. A family with no connections to showbiz. His father, his mother, his younger brother Adale, who Çağatay still calls his closest friend in the world. Everyone who knew him as a kid called him Tasa. He didn't mind, said it felt warm, like a sign that someone actually knew you. He grew up active, curious, the kind of kid who couldn't sit still and didn't want to. Swimming came first, and it wasn't casual. He trained seriously, competed seriously, and for a long time, genuinely believed that was the direction his life was heading. He wanted to become a coach, to stay inside that world of discipline and water and early mornings. At the same time, basketball. He played for his school team, not just for fun. He was good enough that people around him started paying attention. Sport gave him something that would matter for the rest of his life. Not just fitness, not just discipline. The ability to work towards something invisible. To put in hours when nobody's watching, when there's no applause, when results are weeks or months away. That capacity and to show up and grind without an audience is something most people never develop. Çağatay had it by the time he was a teenager, but alongside the sport, something quieter was happening. He played guitar, started making a little money from it as a student before any career had started. And he drew. Pencil sketches mostly, still his preference today. He also paints in oils now, says drawing is his way of meditating, that when everything gets too loud, he picks up a pencil and the noise stops. And he loved fishing. Still does. Says the best moments are early mornings on the water with a small group of close friends. No phones, no press, just the sea. And when he's home, which is rarer than he'd like, he cooks. His specialty is classic Turkish börek with white cheese. Sweet pastries, too. He says if he's in a relationship, he prefers to be the one cooking for her, not the other way around. An ordinary Istanbul kid. No industry connections. No family name that opened doors, no shortcut of any kind. And then, in 2010, at 20 years old, he walked onto the stage of the best model of Turkey competition and won. The room changed when they called his name, not because anyone had expected it, but because when you saw him standing there, you understood immediately why he had won. But what happened next, on that same night, still on that stage, was the moment that actually changed everything. Because someone from the television industry was in the room, watched him receive the award, and made a decision on the spot. By the time Çağatay walked off that stage, he already had his first acting offer. He hadn't been looking for it. He hadn't prepared for it. He hadn't even finished processing the modeling victory yet. But the offer was real, and something in him said yes. That instinct to say yes before you're ready, to walk through the door before you know what's on the other side, would define everything that came next, including the secret that nobody knew about yet. The one that almost ended the career before it started. The offer was for a TV series. He said yes, and walked into a world he knew almost nothing about. His first roles came quickly after the modeling victory. The face was right, the presence was right. Directors noticed him, but there was a problem. One that nobody talked about publicly. One that Çağatay himself kept quiet for years. He had a speech impediment, a lisp. Not severe enough to stop him from functioning in daily life, but significant enough that in his first roles, the production decided not to use his voice at all. Someone else's voice came out of his mouth on screen. Think about what that actually means. You're a young actor, you're working, your face is on television, and when you open your mouth, it's not you, it's someone else. Someone they trusted more than they trusted you. Most people in that situation would have found a way to live with it, to accept the limitation, to build a career around it and hope nobody noticed. Çağatay made a different decision. He found teachers, speech coaches, acting instructors who had worked with the best in the industry. He worked on it the way he had worked on swimming, quietly, consistently, without an audience, without anyone tracking his progress. He was still taking acting classes while already appearing in productions, still fixing his voice while his face was already becoming recognizable. It took time, real time. The kind of work that doesn't show up anywhere. No press release, no announcement, no moment where someone says, "Congratulations, you fixed it." One day, he just didn't need the other voice anymore. And nobody who watched him in those early roles would ever have guessed what it had cost him to get from there to here. This is the secret from the beginning of his career that changes how you see everything. Not a scandal, not a betrayal. Something harder. The willingness to face something embarrassing and work on it in private until it was gone. That's who Çağatay Ulusoy is, underneath the career and the cars and the confidently single quotes. In one interview, he was surprisingly direct about what he finds attractive. He said he prefers women of average height with soft, rounded features, and that he genuinely considers that beautiful, not a compromise. But the career itself, what came next, that's a story of its own. The series that made him a real star in Turkey was İçeride, Insider. 2016, a crime drama, intense, demanding, the kind of show that requires an actor to be fully present in every scene because there's nowhere to hide. His character, Sarp, a man living a double life between the police and the criminal world, gave him space to show something the modeling world never could. Range, depth, the ability to carry a scene on his own. Turkey noticed, then the Middle East, then Eastern Europe. His fee jumped to 150,000 lira per episode. Brand deals followed. VS Jeans, Collins. The kind of contracts that come when a face becomes more than just recognizable, when it becomes valuable. And then came the car. His character, Sarp, drove a 1967 Ford Mustang. Classic, powerful, the kind of machine that turns heads before it even moves. Çağatay fell in love with it. Not just the car and the show, the idea of it. After İçeride wrapped, he bought one. A real 1967 Ford Mustang. And then an Audi RS6, purchased in Turkey for over 1 million lira. The boy from a simple Istanbul apartment, who shared a room with his younger brother, now had a garage worth talking about. But something was bothering him. Turkish television was good to him. Very good. But he could see the ceiling. He could see exactly how far the local industry could take him. And it wasn't far enough. In 2018, Netflix came to Turkey. And they came with a specific project, a superhero thriller called The Protector. And they wanted Çağatay Ulusoy. The offer meant leaving İçeride, walking away from a hit show, from guaranteed money, from a fan base that had spent 2 years following his every move. Everyone around him had an opinion, most of them cautious. He said yes anyway. The Protector became the first Turkish Netflix original. And it was watched in over 190 countries. The ceiling he had been looking at disappeared. The Protector ran for 4 seasons, 2018 to 2020. Çağatay as Hakan Demir, an ordinary man who discovers he is the last protector of Istanbul, bound to an ancient secret. The show wasn't perfect. Critics were divided, but the numbers didn't lie. Watched in 190 countries, one of the first Turkish productions to build a genuinely global audience on a streaming platform. And what it did for his career was permanent. His fee per episode jumped to the equivalent of $90,000, 2.5 times what he had been earning in Turkish television. The American agency came calling. 2 agents now, one in Turkey, one in the United States, both talking about upward trajectory and future negotiations. He started spending time in Los Angeles, taking acting classes at Hollywood institutions, working on his English, working on his accent. The same quiet, private, unglamorous work he had done on his lisp years before, now applied to an entirely new language and an entirely new market. He also took firearms training, said it was a practical skill for the kind of action roles he was pursuing, the kind of detail that tells you something about how seriously he takes preparation. But Los Angeles also gave him perspective. He came back to Turkey with a clearer sense of what he wanted. Not just bigger productions, not just more money. Work that meant something. Characters that required something real from him. In 2021, Yeşilçam on Netflix, a love letter to Turkish cinema history. Then Paper Lives, a dramatic film about a man who runs a cardboard collection depot and takes in a child. Raw, quiet, completely different from the superhero thriller. In 2023, The Tailor, 3 seasons. Top 10 Netflix globally at every release. Top 10 non-English series worldwide. In 2024, Kubra, a psychological thriller about a man receiving mysterious messages from an entity named Kubra that seems to know the future. And on the set of Kubra, something else started. Something he tried, as usual, to keep private. But this time, it didn't stay private for long. He called himself confidently single in every interview that asked. And technically, in those moments, he probably was. But the full picture is more complicated than that. After İçeride, the attention from women became something he had to actively manage. Rumors attached themselves to every co-star, every model he appeared near in an advertisement, every woman who stood close enough to him at an event. Most of it was noise, but some of it wasn't. Serine Sarıkaya, an actress and model, one of the most recognizable faces in Turkey. They were spotted together. Then they confirmed it. A real relationship, lasting several years. Then it ended. Neither gave a detailed explanation. It simply stopped. And then, Duygu Sarışın. Another serious relationship. They lived together during the pandemic, Aegean boat trips in the summer. The kind of domesticity that suggests something real. But something went wrong, and the thing that went wrong was a like on Instagram. Çağatay liked a photo of Serene, his ex. A simple double tap on a screen. Something that takes less than a second and means almost nothing in isolation. To Duygu, it meant everything. She confronted him publicly. A real scandal. The kind that Turkish celebrity press runs with for weeks. They broke up. And here's the detail that stays with you. Every woman who had ever been linked to Çağatay, whether the relationship was confirmed or just rumored, spoke well of him afterwards. No bad words. No public accusations. Just warmth. Which suggests the problem was never who he was to them. The problem was the ghost of one name that kept appearing, Serene. But now there's a third woman. And this time, something is different. Kubra began filming in 2024, a psychological thriller on Netflix. Çağatay as Gökhan, a man caught in a web of mysterious messages that seem to predict the future. His co-star, Aslıhan Malbora, an actress known for Üç Kuruş and Darmaduman. Quiet, private. Someone who, like him, preferred to let the work speak rather than the headlines. From the first days on set, people noticed something. The kind of closeness that goes beyond professionalism. The kind that develops when two people with similar instincts, both private, both serious about their work, both allergic to public performance, find themselves spending 12-hour days together. Rumors started almost immediately. Neither confirmed anything. Then, October 2025, the premiere of Uykucu, his new series. Aslıhan walked in, not as a colleague, not as a casual guest, as someone who was there for him specifically. Turkish press understood immediately. Then, January 2026, Bulgaria, a group holiday with close friends. Photos emerged, the two of them together, relaxed, no longer fully hiding. Comments like, "They look genuinely happy," flooded social media within hours. Fans who had followed him for years noticed something they hadn't seen before. He wasn't keeping her at arm's length. He wasn't managing the distance. He was simply there, with her, in public. For a man who had spent years calling himself confidently single, this was the closest thing to a statement he had ever made. Whether the ghost of the past stays quiet this time, only he knows. But something about the way he shows up with Aslıhan suggests he might finally be ready for an answer different from the ones he's given before. Let's talk about the numbers. Because they tell a story of their own. When he first started in Turkish television, respectable fees. When Iserda made him a star, 150,000 lira per episode. Then The Protector and Netflix, $90,000 per episode, 2.5 times his previous rate. An American agent added to his team alongside the Turkish one. Then The Tailor, 2 million lira per episode, 3 seasons, global top 10 at every release. And now, 2025. His new project, Eşref Rüya. The fee agreed, 3.5 million lira per episode. From a kid sharing a room with his brother in a simple Istanbul apartment to one of the highest paid actors in Turkish television history. In roughly 15 years. The house reflects that journey. He started by renting an apartment in a busy Istanbul neighborhood. Then, a villa in Zekeriyaköy, a district that was quietly moving from middle class to luxury. He liked the format, the garden, the trampoline in the yard, the pool, the barbecue area where he could have friends and family over whenever he wanted. He used all of it. He liked it enough to buy 5 million lira for a property in Kemerburgaz, chosen partly because that's where his friends live, including the family of Kuvance Tatlatu. The garage, a 1967 Ford Mustang and an Audi RS6. One, a piece of history. One, a statement about where he is now. His net worth is currently estimated at around $3 million. But with fees at 3.5 million lira per episode and a 2026 high-budget period drama in development, that number is moving. The boy who shyly stumbled through early interviews and let someone else's voice come out of his mouth on screen is now the most internationally recognized Turkish actor of his generation. And he did it the same way he did everything else. Quietly, without announcing it. One unglamorous hour of work at a time. So let's go back to where we started. Turkey's most eligible bachelor. 2 broken relationships. One name that kept destroying everything. And a secret from the very beginning of his career that changes how you see all of it. Here's what that secret actually was. He couldn't speak properly on screen. A lisp that nobody knew about. Someone else's voice coming out of his mouth in his first roles. And instead of finding a way to work around it, he spent years fixing it in private. Quietly, without telling anyone. Until one day, he simply didn't need the other voice anymore. That's the through line of his entire story. The swimming he trained for seriously and walked away from. The modeling title he won and immediately converted into something bigger. The Netflix risk everyone around him doubted. The English classes and the firearms training and the Hollywood acting coaches. He doesn't announce things, he just does them. And then one day, they're done. Even the relationship with Aslıhan. No statement, no confirmation. Just gradually, undeniably, publicly there. The man who called himself confidently single for years is no longer hiding. And the actor who couldn't use his own voice on screen is now the most globally recognized Turkish actor of his generation. Some secrets, when you finally understand them, don't make the person smaller. They make everything they built look even bigger. Write in the comments, did you know about the voice? And if this story surprised you, you're already in the right place for more.